Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Trainz Simulator, Trainz. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Washoe Valley 460s. These are a freelanced model available from TrainzForge as freeware. I believe these are, actually I'm almost dead certain that these are based on the Canadian D10s, they're 460s, which are also available. I believe that is the prototype that these are built off of, which I will do a video on later, but that in and of itself is a huge pack, so it would be a bit of a pain to try to go over all the individual freelance models based off of that pack, as well as going over that pack. So we're going to break it down into the individual packs. So today we're looking at the Washoe Valley. Anyway, so there are two models that come in the pack. One of them is going to be kind of a later era, which is what you see here in front of you. And then the other is going to be a kind of an earlier, I believe it's like 1930s model. So, pretty nice models, pretty nice locomotives. Unfortunately, don't know the kind of story to them. A lot of their freelance models, they've got kind of a story to go along with the freelance railroad that they're meant to match. But I unfortunately don't really know the backstory on these. And as you can very obviously see, we are on the Eagle River testing these, because while there is a freeware route available, matter of fact, I think it's from TrainzForge for the Washoe Valley, I haven't managed to get it to work yet. I haven't managed to get it to show up in my files, so I gave up bothering with it. But if you have that route and have figured out how to make it work, this is an absolute must-have to have for it. So let's get up close and personal, shall we? Oh, gotta get somewhat comfortable here. So both of these are going to be oil burners. I believe most of the Washoe Valley stuff are oil burners because it's out in the desert and whatnot. Coal burning tends to light fires out there, but both of them are oil burners. Like I said, both of them are based off of the Canadian Pacific D10s. They are not dynamically numbered. This is Washoe Valley's second number 6. I know that part of the whole story. This is just the one and only model of this locomotive that they made. So you only get number 6. No fun numbers or anything, but really nice locomotive overall. Really and truly, the largest differences between the two are going to be your paint scheme. There are some noticeable changes, such as, what are we going to point out first? Our headlights, probably one of the most obvious. It's going to stand out. It's the headlights and your pump location. Got a more modernized set of pumps right here, whereas you got your single up here. Of course, you got an oil burning headlamp back here, and then you've got an electric headlamp here, which is kind of odd. It's got an oil style headlight right here, but that is most definitely an electrical generator right there. But well, what else changes? Of course, the paint scheme changes. Piping's about the same. Of course, your running gear is going to be the same. Stevenson valve gear inside, which is modeled on both of them. It is hard to see, but if you're looking for it, see, it is in there. It is modeled. Let's see if I can get up under here. So there's your Stevenson valve gear. Same on this model. So really from the base of the boiler down, they should be more or less the same locomotive. And then let's see, we got marker lights, that stays the same. Chimed whistle. Whistle model's different. This is a single bell whistle versus a chimed whistle. Both of them are steam operated bells. Anything on this side that's really vastly different? Not really. So they're not wildly different locomotives, but there are some noticeable changes. I actually like the paint scheme on the 1930s model better. I just kind of like the thin white lines, the white striping everywhere. That makes it look really clean, but yeah, that's just me. Believe, yeah, these have custom cabs, if that floats your boat. I always have to say it, I don't care much for custom cabs and Trainz. I don't operate in the cab, it's not my thing, not in Trainz. So, but for those of you that enjoy it, it does have a custom cab. Let's see, detail wise, of course we got our headlights. Headlight looks really quite nice. You know, it's not too obnoxiously bright. It's got kind of a nice yellowy glow to it. Overall, I like it. It does light up the numbers on the sides too, which is a nice touch. Of course, we can change our train class, which will add the flags here, and then light up your marker lights. Got green. Whoops. It is still kind of entertaining. Yeah, the light shining through the boiler there, but yeah, whatever. Open the smoke box door. Fairly detailed inside. Got some little bits and pieces going on. Yeah, the little catches here actually spin. It's pretty neat. And then we got our window. Keep clicking. Got our windows here, so we'll go just fireman since we're already over here. We'll push that window forward, pulls it back. Fireman's door should open this front door right here. And roof hatch. Not a whole ton of things, but you know, enough to make it different. Of course, our bell. It is wildly out of sync, but that's not bad. Not a bad sounding bell sound. And the bell does actually function. Not a half bad whistle. The obvious item of interest is the steam exhaust coming out from over here on the side versus where the whistle's at, but other than that, not half bad. That is, I just noticed that. There's no cord going from the whistle to the cab either. Bluetooth whistle, but it's not bad. That's a pretty decent whistle sound. I believe the whistle and the bell are the only thing that really changes between the two. Ugh. Now that one I don't like. That's a older. Who am I kidding? That's an old Trainz whistle that's been around for a minute. It's not my favorite. It's kind of one of those that's, if it's a single chime whistle, that's the whistle sound that gets used. It's just kind of, it's one of those used and abused Trainz sounds that I don't like. But again, it's Trainz. It's dummy easy to change out sounds if you don't like them, so not such a big issue. does have the not gonna lie, that bell sound is more in sync. But that bell sound is attached to that whistle, so if you've heard the whistle, you've heard the bell. What else is something we can point to? Don't need that. Oh, there it goes. Should be mostly the same items of interest. Yep, same items of interest. Headlight, it's going to be the same color, which is kind of interesting. It's very much an oil headlamp. I mean, maybe it's a converted headlight. Maybe that's what they're shooting for. So, but it's definitely an old style headlamp. That's what this this whole bit is for your exhaust for fire. Oil headlamps, they got a little fire in here. They're a glorified kerosene lamp or something. Kerosene oil. But yeah. As is pretty typical of TrainzForge, really nicely detailed. Proper 3D rivets, nice legible builder's plate, if I can get it to sit nice there. By Baldwin Locomotive Works, Philly. The number is a bit blurry. The lettering on the tender looks really nice. The weathering overall doesn't look half bad. It's mostly just dusty because the route that this is meant for is kind of a desert style route, so a lot of dust, dirt, but otherwise really nicely detailed. A lot of nice 3D modeling, especially the rivets. You guys know how much I like my rivets. Proper 3D rivets really do make a difference. Same for both the other locomotive, the 1930s style. That is the as-built, or as-delivered maybe. This is the 1930s kind of rebuild. So yellow lettering and yellow numbering. Again, kind of blurry up on the cab. Not so bad on the tender though. Tender looks really nice. Even the number up on the sand dome is actually looks a lot more crispier. This just turned out really blurry right here. Not a fan of that, but nicely detailed. Very nicely detailed. So let's take it down the track. Now, both locomotives do use the exact same chuff sound, so nothing special there. Which track were we on? 2. Throw that one, throw. That didn't make sense. Anywho. Ah, that's why. We want this one. Chuff sounds are quiet. Really quiet. The pumps are laughably louder than the chuff sounds. Not a fan of that. That's something that doesn't float my boat. But again, it's Trainz. Ridiculously easy to change sounds if you don't like them. So probably be something I modify myself later on, but the whistle does have a little bit of a kind of drawn out loop, which can get a little bit annoying. So here's a short blast. So that's just me tapping the H key. So it is kind of hard to time your whistles. It's got about a full second kind of loop going on, which is not horrible, but definitely not my favorite. The chuff sounds actually are not bad. They're just really, really, really quiet. Now I do believe that there's a set of passenger cars that these are supposed to go with, because I believe this was supposed to be a passenger locomotive. The passenger cars are freeware. I'm gonna go over a lot of TrainzForge's freeware content, kind of case by case. So the Washoe Valley freeware stuff, I'm gonna just kind of do its own separate video as far as the rolling stock goes. So I won't be going over the passenger cars today, but just know that there is rolling stock that does kind of go with this pack that is available. It's actually ain't a half bad looking locomotive for Eagle River. Maybe this is one that I'll have to reskin later on. But it does run nicely. It runs really smooth. All mechanical movement is nice and smooth. No weird glitches or anything. Matter of fact, even the smoke looks pretty good. I actually really like the smoke. It looks very natural for the most part. It does have kind of weird little quirks to it like that. But overall, the smoke looks really natural. The exhaust from the generator, not so much. The exhaust from the generator is a bit odd, to say the least. So let's bring it to a stop. I don't think I've ever noticed that in trains, the gauge movement. Like I said, it's not something that I really pay much attention to. Trainz is not something I ever typically think about as a proper simulator per se, so I don't fiddle with the cab all that often, but it's kind of interesting to note. The brakes do, the brake gauges and such do work, but it's got a nice slowdown, not an immediate stop. So that's nice. Just overall a nice locomotive. Well worth it for, I mean, it's freeware. You really can't go wrong with freeware. If you don't like it, you just uninstall it, and what are you out? 10 minutes to download, install, check out, and uninstall. Big whoop. I like it. I think it's pretty neat. It goes along real nicely with the rest of the Washoe Valley stuff. I know a while back I did a video on the Payware 484 that is available, which does come with its own fleet of rolling stock as well, but there is a really nice content set for the Washoe Valley. So anywho, hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's definitely a kind of different, kind of nice. Up until this point, a lot of the freelance stuff that I've gone over for Trainz has ended up being payware, but this is one of the nice freewares that is available for a freelanced modeler, and it makes a nice base model for reskinning if you're into the reskinning thing. TrainzForge products can be a little bit wonky when it comes to reskinning in my experience, but still a nice base model, but really worth checking out. As always, link in the description. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys next time.